All right, this is a story that never dies, and it's not going to for quite some time because there are actual lawsuits. Brittany, you said Ryan Reynolds says, hey, I never screamed at Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, it does feel like we're kind of in that world now where stories are showing up where they say insiders are, in our case,
Insiders
are saying like specific things. But as we know from some leak stuff in the past, is that a lot of this stuff is going to be PR firms kind of pushing this. Well, Ryan Reynolds decided he wants to make sure that if his name is involved, he would like to clear some things up. And we had an article around, he did not scream at Justin Baldoni. In fact, this insider claimed that he just talked sternly. And really, it was like the wording, too, was like he specifically...
impassioned.
Yes, was passionately speaking to him. Very much so like terms you'd hear like later after you screamed at your children. You're like, no, I was just being passionate about something. I was being passionate about you cleaning your GD room. So I think he's getting ahead of it.
It's so weird. This whole story, it just keeps going and going. Specifically, though, to your point, this part, and this all centered around the quote unquote fat shaming of Blake Lively, how Justin Baldoni had allegedly asked her what her weight was. She wasn't comfortable with that. She claims that he asked her trainer without her knowledge what her weight was for some lifting scene, but he says it's because I have a bad back. Like, it is so he said, she said, and this is why he allegedly, Ryan Reynolds, yelled at Justin Baldoni. He's like, don't fat shame my wife.
Yeah, especially like, there's sensitivities around this because she is pumping at this point. She just had a kid. And then we keep going. This keeps happening to us where we go, is this something that falls in the lawsuit? Or do you guys just not like each other and you're annoyed by something? And like, that's where I go, is there a world where somebody could ask your weight because they are? And it also seems a little silly, too, to be honest. It's like, well, what's the difference if she weighs 130 or 140? Like, how different?
Right, you can estimate.
like, pretend she's 200 pounds then and just train for that. Like, she's wearing 2 pairs of pants. Like, she's walking around looking like a clown in this movie, wearing 2 to 3 pants with a beanie. Factor that bad boy in and call it a day. Like,
which is the real problem with this whole thing.
That was my biggest complaint.
The outfit choices. How is this not in the lawsuit?
When it is in the lawsuit. It's
outfit choices?
Well, some things are. So when Justin Baldoni released a bunch of information, he made sure, because it wasn't necessary to show that Blake had a big input in her the clothing photos or the clothing choices for this movie. And so he made sure to send a text that was along the lines of, she should be wearing this sexy beanie and maybe 2 pairs of pants with a crop top because it's supposed to be cold out. Like, that's shady. There was no reason that is. And again, are these lawsuits or are these 2 people that just don't like each other? And I'm not saying, I'm not confirming that that's how I believe all these things are. But I am saying some of these you go, this is not a thing you're supposed to bring to a court of law.
Well, we talked about, let's talk about the breastfeeding in general, right?
Yes.
Like, I would not be comfortable with anyone I work with who has not had a baby and breastfed them, pumping in front of them. But that's just me.
Yeah.
And like, that doesn't mean that she wasn't when he then threw out the receipts that showed that she told him he could come in the room while they were discussing things.
Yeah, he shot out a text, and this is what this is on Justin's side of him explaining his side of things. He presented a text chain or a glimpse of a text a screenshot of a quick interactions where he says, we have to figure this one thing out. And she says, no problem. I'm in my trailer pumping. Come on in.
And he's like, oh, I'm eating lunch right now. And she's like, yep, no rush. Come in when you're done.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very normal conversation.
I think anybody can relate to this. Is like, there is a handful of people I would say I'm either so busy or so comfortable with that I would be okay with being like, I'm going to pump while I talk to you. And I'm not saying, like you said, everyone's different. I probably have more people than Kendall. Like, don't you think, Kendall? I probably have, I would fall more in the line of like, meh. But at the same time, it's not a big list. And it makes you wonder, especially when it came up to, she brought that up originally in hers, is that like, there was situations where she felt uncomfortable around him. And so I don't know.
It is. And so his lawyer, Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, was on the Today Show this morning. He did a pre-taped interview with one of their interviewers, and he says that Justin never wanted Blake to look bad. This is the claim by Justin's attorney. And he said from the get-go, he said, quote, "I don't want to do anything negative toward her. I don't want to hurt her." Because, of course, this all stems around this like bait and switch, capture and kill type campaign, right?
But he was ready to pull the trigger.
He was. And so then the interviewer, the journalist asks, like, listen, Justin's whole career is based on empowering women. Are we supposed to not believe this woman who's saying this about him?
Yeah.
And the attorney said, "I'm not asking anyone to not believe anyone. I am more than willing to take every single text message that exists out there, lay them out, put them on a website for the world to see, have them see the truth and determine it for themselves. I think there's some behavior always that can make people uncomfortable, and I don't think anybody has the intention to do that. The question really in this case is, does it rise to the level of sexual harassment?"
We're just going to keep finding out more and more. And I do think we have to note is like the conversations with his PR person, they said, we were going to do a smear campaign, but she did it for us. Mm-hmm. And is the intention worse than the act? I don't know.
We don't know.
There's a lot
keep
here.
Posted.
Yeah, we'll keep unpacking this for sure. It's very interesting.